Well, it's been quite a big week. I did pregnancy yoga training, teacher training, for 5 days. And I must say it was really nice to just wake up at my own pace this morning. And only turn my phone on at, I think it's like 11 o'clock now. It's a practice I've been developing over a really long time. Not in a forced way, but the longer I spend off my phone in the morning, the more time I have to be in practice, which is practice resting, being in the sun, just meeting myself where I'm at, really, without engaging with anyone else and anything else that is not just my state of being. It's awesome. And I wanted to talk about something today that came up during the training. It was really took me to my edges, I would say, just in terms of having to commute every day and being engaged like for 13 hours, with breaks. And obviously it was such a nourishing and beautiful environment, so it couldn't have gone any better, to be honest. And it was a lot for me in the pregnancy. Just deeply beautiful though, and I learned so much. And we had a midwife. We actually had a lot of midwives participating during the training. We had an obstetrician. Everyone's also a trained yoga teacher. And people from all over the world, lots of Scandinavians, which I thought was really interesting, because the Scandinavians really respect and honor the process of pregnancy and motherhood. Just the amount of time off both the mother and the father are given off. And when we add many other things, which is a topic for another time. But we also just had a midwife who is a friend of Uma's and just participating and also assisting on the training. And she gave us a talk one night. And she just shared a lot of really invaluable information. And one of the things that she spoke about when she kind of introduced herself properly and her story of how she became a midwife was her experience of her first pregnancy, and how the experience of being pregnant and then giving birth actually healed sexual trauma that she had experienced when she was 18, and the process that she went through to eventually take it to court, etc. But the insight in it that I could really relate to was she spoke about the hormones and the rage that she started to feel when she fell pregnant. And suddenly all these things that needed to be faced were being presented to her. And it was as if pregnancy was like there's no hiding. And it's such a personal experience, but it's a common thread. And I spoke to a lot of women on the training who were pregnant and who have been pregnant, who have children, who experienced this kind of really intense, overwhelming, emotional reaction to certain things. And I've had that a lot, and particularly during the week of the training, when I got some engaged in some, I don't know if I can really call it dialogue, on my personal experience with veganism and eating disorders and fertility and women's health. And I was really angry, and that's happened not only with this, but when all that stuff was going on in South Africa, and when I was early pregnancy days and I wasn't really online much at all, I was so overcome with emotion and anger around my own sexual traumatic history, and couldn't figure out why this was coming up. And I don't really have the answer to that other than hormones, but I find it incredibly interesting how anger is an emotion that so many people are very afraid of exploring, and especially with women, it's an emotion that typically, if we explore, we are hysterical. The whole narrative around women when they're PMSing, and also pregnant women, are kind of put in this category of like hysteria. And actually, there's an incredibly powerful thing going on. We are creating another human being, and the energy of a baby is bigger than the energy of an adult. You can tell when a baby enters the room. This is something that Uma was talking about, and we had a baby in the room every day on the training with one of the students. And every time she came into the room, it was like, all eyes were on her. And it's almost like the smaller the physical body, the bigger the energetic body. And if you think of like the body that I'm housing, that any pregnant woman is housing, and the body that she is growing, the energy of both those bodies we are occupying, and it's a really big space to occupy. There's a lot of stuff that's going to come up and be presented. And I had some like little bit of discomfort come up, mostly around just, I was feeling, he was one person, but still, felt so supported and really understood by everybody. But being in trying to be in dialogue with a person who's literally unwilling to see the point of view just from a woman's perspective, all a person really needs to hear in those instances is, wow, I understand how I may not be able to empathize with you because I am a man and because of X, Y, and Z. Could have been so valuable. But it didn't go down that way, and that's okay. I learned a lot. And one of the biggest lesson that I've learned, or the biggest thing that I've taken so far in this pregnancy, is how typically I often let a lot of people in. And my boundaries maybe not so strong, but the baby in the pregnancy is very clear. This is okay, and this is not okay. This is what you need to fight for, and this is what you can step back and just observe. It's so clear. I can't, like with people, with situations, with everything, with work, in relationships and friendships, all of that. And it's a gift. It's a gift. It's a gift. It's a gift, and I'm so grateful for it. And I found the midwife story to be incredibly inspiring, and it was like this, wow, I am in that experience right now of just, I don't feel like it today, but I've gone through waves of just being incredibly like emotional about specific things, and don't find the rage to be, or the anger to be, destabilizing at all. It feels so contained and so clear. It's not this, even if it was uncontained. I don't know, guys, there's nothing wrong with that. If women aren't angry right now, then there's a problem. We've got a lot to be angry about, and we've got to channel that anger try to channel it in a constructive way, with the body, with the mind, with conversation, with dialogue. And for me, it was really about standing up for myself and going, I don't need to hide this anymore. And actually, there's a lot of people who need to hear this right now, and that being actually the most valuable part of the whole thing. So, thank you for listening. I'm back to my smoothie and turn my phone off airplane mode. Put this online.